Everyone. Uh, my name is Dion Olmstead. I'll do a little bit more of an introduction in just a moment. But this morning we're going to talk a little bit about navigating the challenges of winter tourism, especially in light of the changing winters we've been seeing for the last 5 years or so. Um, there we go. Who are we? We're the SBDC, the Small Business Development Center. If you haven't worked with us before, we have offices in every state, and we are almost 50 years old, so we've been around for quite a long time. We're a partner program of the Small Business Administration, and all SBDCs are hosted by a university or college in their state. In Maine, we're hosted by University of Southern Maine, but we have people all around the state, and we partner with some other organizations, including the Androscoggin Valley Council of Governments and the Northern Maine Development Commission, sorry, to get to sort of host advisors in different areas around the state. So yeah, there are 12 of us around the state. That can help you with business needs. And most of us, as am I, are former business owners and have business degrees. We can assist with almost anything that you need, that you might have for business needs. A lot of our work is no cost advising, one-on-one, in person or online. But as this morning too, we do provide webinars and e-courses as well. And the list below is a bunch of things different topics that we help clients with, but it's not limited to just those items. We can help you with almost any type of business need that you have. So what we are not is lawyers, accountants, or tax preparers. I am certainly not a lawyer or an accountant. So most of the information in this case is for educational purposes, and it certainly doesn't take the place of having an accountant or a lawyer. And you should certainly seek appropriate guidance for those types of things if you need them. Um, And in terms of this webinar today, we are recording it. And after the webinar is over, I'll send you all the slide deck so you can have it. And if you have questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. And uh, I, I don't mind answering questions or having discussions throughout the presentation, so we don't have to wait till the end. This is not like a weighty data type of presentation where we have to get through a lot of math. So, feel free to ask questions at any time that you think is, relevant to what you're thinking about. My name is Dion Olmstead. I'm a certified business advisor with the Small Business Development Center, and I cover Oxford, Franklin, and Androscoggin counties. And as I put in here, I'm a huge fan of winter. I love winter. I grew up here. I look forward to it. I could live in a perpetual state of winter and be perfectly happy. Sorry for the not very professional picture that I put in here of myself and my daughter, but I figured you get to look at me enough throughout the presentation. So, uh, so what we're going to cover today, talk a little bit about what is winter tourism in Maine, and how that's changing. Um, we'll talk a little bit about the changing winter seasons and the challenges and opportunities that presents, and then have a little time to talk about next steps and things to think about in the evolution of winter tourism in Maine. How we think about winter tourism is changing and has been changing. Traditional winter activities are now accompanied by a number of newer activities that are helping expand Maine's winter offerings. Traditional activities in Maine include a lot of winter sports like skiing, both downhill and cross country, snowshoeing, ice skating, ice fishing and snowmobiling are obviously longstanding activities that we associate with uh, Maine in the winter. But we are expanding into a lot of other winter activities that are helping draw tourists to Maine in the wintertime. We'll talk a little bit more about that soon. So, the big reason to talk about this is Maine's winter season has been changing. If you've been around Maine for a while, you know that winters are not the same as they used to be. Uh, and warmer temperatures and increased winter rain are contributing to more shallow snowpack. And winters are becoming shorter. Right now, they're estimated to be approximately two weeks shorter. And The mean statewide annual temperature has increased by about 3 degrees Fahrenheit in the last 130 years or so. That's actually projected to increase basically by the same amount by 2050. So, it's sort of an increasing pace of warming. And winter temperatures are warming twice as fast as summer temperatures are in Maine. So we definitely have some challenges on the horizon for winter tourism and for winter in Maine in general. But it's not all bad news. You know, uh, Despite warming temperatures, Maine's winter tourism economy is growing. Uh, the Maine Office of Tourism does reports a 9.3% increase in winter visitors between 23 and 2023 and 2024. And from December of 23 to April of 2024, approximately 4.37 million visitors spent over $2 billion in the state. Um, and that's great. And it's even better when you realize that this increase adds to previous gains. Like yeah, during the winter of 2023, 2022 to 2023, there was 15% more visitors than the same period in 2022. So there's some really big bright spots here. Um, and I want to talk a little bit about that before we talk about some of the challenges, because just despite large challenges, the alpine ski industry is a real bright spot. We've seen pretty tremendous growth. Some of this is A lot of this can be attributed to more efficient snowmaking technologies, but also marketing efforts of both the ski industry and our state. So the market size of the ski and snowboard resorts industry in Maine has been growing at an average annual rate of 1.7%. And that's over the last 5 years or so. And the market size of the ski and snowboard resorts industry in Maine is $63.2 million in 2025. That's pretty great when you also consider all the industries, the supporting industries that benefit from our alpine ski industry. Successful marketing has certainly helped all areas of Maine benefit from the winter tourism season. It's traditionally we think of winter tourism in area, our most wintry spots like Western Maine, Aroostook County, but uh, urban and downtown areas, and really all areas of Maine have really been benefiting from increases in winter tourism. And, a lot of that, I think, has to do with effective marketing of things such as cultural events and holiday festivals, which are bringing destination tourists to Maine. And much of the success can be attributed to great marketing efforts by the Maine Office of Tourism and really many other interests around the state. But there have been a lot of challenges to winter tourism in the last, especially particularly the last 5 years, as we've watched and seen winter become shorter and less consistent as well. For the past 4 years in Maine have been some of the warmest that we've ever seen. Winters are about 2 weeks shorter in comparison to the last century. Um, and in the Northeast, winter is the fastest warming season. Conditions are less consistent and less predictable, which makes events and planning a big challenge. And snowfall totals do not always equal or equate to snow on the ground. So one of the problems we've seen consistently for over the past 5 years or so is the fact that um, snow comes and then snow goes. We get snow, we get rain. So while we might look at snowfall totals and see some decent snowfall for the year so far, it doesn't equate to what's on the ground, nor does it equate to the quality of the conditions on the ground. Activities such as snowmobiling have been in decline. Snowmobiling's taken a pretty big hit in the last few years, with large effects for supporting industries as well, such as restaurants, lodging, gas stations, um, to name just a few. Snowmobiling generated an estimated $582 million in economic contributions during the 2023 to 2024 season, which is good, but it's still a sharp drop in comparison to the previous year. $128 million less than just one year before. And the 5 year change in snowmobile registrations has been pretty dramatic. We've basically reduced snowmobile registrations by 25% in that time period. Nordic skiing, unlike alpine skiing, Nordic skiing has faced really big challenges around the state in recent years due to inconsistent snowpack and to warming temperatures. A robust snowpack is critical to cross-country skiing. You really need good snow on the ground for these activities. The picture I have in here is certainly of racing, but this equates to a lot of those touring cross-country ski touring activities that we see as well. Things like Maine Hudson Trails and other multi-use systems with lodges on them that really have benefited from people that want to ski in and ski out types of adventures. There are a few locations in the state that either have or will have snowmaking to support Nordic trail systems. And there are several other locations around the state that have limited capacity. But snowmaking is very expensive, and it has another big limiting factor, which is water. Much like we're seeing with irrigation right now, once you run out of water, you run out of water. So a lot of these places that may be able to make some snow may be limited by the amount of water they have to do it with. So this is posing big challenges all the way from Fort Kent down to the lowest end of our state.
Yeah,
Uh,
Dion, we got a
so,
question there in the chat if you
oh,
want to take a peek. It's quite interesting.
oh, absolutely. I'm sorry. I have it on my view on thumbnail here. So give me just a moment. Actually, Aaron, could you read it to me? I am not able to pull up the chat.
I will read it.
Thank
So
you.
many locals, this is from Allison at Laken's George's Cheese, if I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not,
Yeah.
sorry. Many locals talk about looking forward to exploring Maine again once the tourists leave, but agricultural experiences seem to be excluded. Our farm store is open year-round, selling our farm stand cheese and meats, and post Labor Day, the number of visitors is minuscule. We also offer farm to table private parties. In the winter, there's a wood stove to keep things cozy, but we haven't cracked the marketing code over the past 9 years to draw visitors in. So looking for suggestions. And that could be open to
Oh, yeah.
anybody too.
Okay. Well, I actually will talk a little bit about this later too, but this is a really good question. And Allison, I'll tell you, I'm from a farming family as well. I grew up on a farm in agriculture. I can sort of feel this one with you. But I'd maybe also invite you to have a longer conversation later after the webinar. But one thing that I did recently with a client that impressed me was that we worked on identifying winter activities around Maine, and they're food type of business. So we wanted to see what was out there that they might be able to tap into in the off season. And together we compiled a list only for this region, for basically three counties of winter activities, things that were going on weekends, festivals, ice fishing derbies, snowmobile events, and anything sort of we could think of that was a winter activity. And what we found was much richer than I thought we would find. We compiled a pretty large list of events that were very consistent across the winter season. So, I think like finding those events and then either figuring out how to get to them to sell your products or to use them for marketing opportunities to get those people to you is important. And while in a way that's not a great answer, I also think that there's a lot more going on and than a lot of us might think. And I do think that there are ways to get to people, and I'd be perfectly happy to work with you more on this. In the future.
Thanks, Dion.
Sure. So, ice fishing, right? We all know that this is a really diehard group of people. How many of us have seen people out on 4 inches of slush in March, just toughing it out to go fishing one more time? Um, and they're passionate. Anglers spend money on equipment, rentals, accommodations, local restaurants. They have a big impact in the state, and things like ice fishing festivals and derbies. They generate substantial revenue for our local economies, uh, and so uh, and it brings people from all over. But over the last 20 years, the median ice out date has shrunk by 37 days. That's a lot. From April 16th, 2005 to March 10th, according to the state and Lake Association data. That's sort of the number they've arrived at. That obviously will vary somewhat by location. And then these recent winters have been associated with poor quality ice. So again, sort of like with snow base, it's not just about amount of snow on the ground. It's actually quality of ice. When you have freeze thaw cycles, you have rain on top of snow or rain on top of ice. The quality of the ice degrades, so it's more dangerous to go on, to be on it, and it certainly doesn't last as long. Sorry. So, I think next we'll sort of talk about finding some ways to I don't really want to call them solutions in this case, right? But some ways to work within the new realities we have of winter and ways to um, find transitions and complementary activities that accompany what we're already doing to make our offerings more dynamic and sort of buffer us from poor winter conditions. And uh, I think finding alternative activities that fit with what you're already doing is important. This can allow you to offer alternatives without adding lots of new tasks and expenses and management hurdles. So, of course, there's always a balance between um, the new thing that's going to allow you to offer something um, and the time and expense it takes to manage that concurrently with your traditional activities. So a few of the things that we've been seeing at SBDC that that people have been using to take advantage of different opportunities in the winter. I've tried to sort of create a few slides to present some of these alternatives, but also to realize that that there are alternatives out there. So while yours might not be listed here, the activity of looking for things like this is important. So fat biking's been a big one in our state. Fat bikes are specially designed bicycles. They have oversized tires, low pressure tires, and they allow riders to pedal across surfaces that would be nearly impossible for a standard bike in the winter. I mean, a lot of us have probably tried to ride our bike in the winter through a pile of snow at one point or another, and it wasn't very successful. But this type of bike is really good in packed snow, ice, and other other challenging winter conditions. And they're really great alternative sport when activities that rely on deeper snow are not possible. This is one that we see working a lot for people who are in the Nordic, cross country ski industries. And a lot of the necessary infrastructure for trail maintenance and for trail management is very similar to Nordic centers and multi-use trail networks. That it's really easy to adopt fat biking as part of their winter offerings. Um, Sugarloaf now allows fat bikes, as an example, to access certain parts of their Nordic trails as part of their pass system. Bethel Trails and Bethel Village Trails in Bethel has implemented winter fat biking and fat bike grooming. And Maine Hudson Trails are now promoting fat biking to bike into their remote huts when Nordic skiing is not available. Winter hiking and camping, this was sort of a fun one for me because did not realize how popular winter hiking and camping have become in Maine. And while I did not find great statistics to support this, I certainly found a lot of enthusiasm. And the one piece I did find here is the Baxter State Park winter trail use for 2024 reported 1,710 winter trail uses across only their monitored trailheads. So that's pretty neat. That's a lot of visitors coming to hike in the wintertime at only one of our locations. These are activities that are available when snow cover is insufficient for other activities. And so this is a pretty great alternative for wintertime. Wellness tourism in Maine has been on the rise. We do see a lot more retreat centers and yoga studios, spas than we did in the past. And I think that this is the type of thing that aligns well with sort of the modern wellness travel movement. This type of business can be a really good partner for other local activities, sort of like we were just talking about. This is the type of activity that you can often combine something like farm to table meals with hikes, local food and drink, and other outdoor explorations. While the people are at the spa, this is a great place to partner with this type of business for your own activities, to offer your own activities. And because they're not really dependent on weather dependent. And they do align well with sort of our quiet off-season atmosphere. So even when there aren't a lot of people here, that can benefit certain promotions where people are looking for quiet places to rest and relax. The snowmobile rental business has had some pretty tough years in the last 5 years or so. Some businesses have gotten really hit hard. But uh, at the same time, the side by side, or if you're in certain parts, especially the northern part of the state, they call them side by each a lot. So we'll pay note to that too. That these have become quite popular. And they're a really great way to accompany snowmobile rentals and guided trips. You know, those times where snowmobiles are just not feasible, a lot of multi-use trails and other areas can support side by sides. And and when the snowmobile trail conditions are really unreliable, these provide another opportunity. This one is shown with wheels, but one of the nice things with these is that they can actually put tracks on in place of the wheels, so they can be utilized on lakes, they can be utilized on marginal snow conditions where you may still have some riding to do. And given our extensive multi-use trail network, these are have been a really good alternative to snowmobiling. And they do allow, visitors who book winter trips, expecting outdoor adventure based experiences to still explore Maine's backcountry, even when snowmobiling is not a possibility. A number of places have adopted these. The Forks, Rangeley, Moosehead, all have uh, uh, outfits that are offering either rentals of these or guided trips. So I talked just a tiny bit about this, but adapting to, I mean, cross promoting with other complementary businesses is a really good way to create a bundled experience for people to come to Maine. So instead of just being reliant on one activity when they get here, this sort of spreads out, I suppose, the risk of that. It allows tourists to keep coming even if snow activities are not possible and increases spending and helps local businesses share customers. And it really makes the trip more attractive by offering all-in-one experiences. This has been very successful for a number of businesses in our state that are adapting to when new winter conditions. And my shameless plug here is to work with us. We can help support these transitions and you know uh, look at sort of some of those templates that we've seen and see if we can help you to come up with a plan to do a cross promotion for your business in the winter. And we did speak a little bit about this already, but if you are especially a supporting type of winter business, take the time to look around at all the events that may benefit you. Like I said, I recently compiled a list with a client of events going on around the state, and the list is pretty impressive just for a very limited geographic look at the state. And this type of exercise can help you compile a robust list of events at which to either sell your products, market your services, or get people to come to your location from there. These are good. Often they're a good marketing opportunity in terms of sponsorships, things like ice fishing derbies or Nordic ski events, things like that are often happy to take sponsorships and in turn, guide people your way. So another thing to consider is that shoulder season weather is lasting a bit longer now, and taking advantage of those shoulder seasons is a really good way to keep your business going. During poor winter conditions, there are some popular activities such as hiking, camping, wildlife guiding, etc., that can pull people to the state. And I do think that this is a really good time, an opportunity to market quiet, the quietness of Maine, the smaller crowds. I personally love this time of year. I love how quiet it is. I love how peaceful it feels. And I think that there are a number of people that are looking for exactly that. So, gearing your business to market this time of year, as we know that it's not going to be as snowy as it used to be, can be a real benefit. So marketing is key in our day and age, and marketing a new message for winter is really important to your business. And, tailoring your messaging so that you're highlighting your winter, your winter friendly products and services is really important. Leveraging social media and storytelling to tell the story of what you're doing in the winter and how you're doing it, even in challenging times, can get your message out to people that may not even be thinking about winter activities at that time. Digital marketing strategies like Google Ads, um, your SEO for your website um, are really important to getting people to come to your site and to your location. And engaging with local tourism boards, chambers of commerce, and visitor centers is a really good way to spread your message. And as we already talked about, creating those strategic partnerships with other organizations and other businesses to create a richer offering for people is can be very successful. Making sure that people to the south know that we have winter is really important. It's funny how when there is no snow somewhere else, people aren't thinking about snow. Um, and and this quote is from someone named Carl Terrio. He's a great guy. If you've never been to the Fort Kent Outdoor Center, it is an absolutely marvelous spot, and it's worth a trip to Fort Kent to go. There's just so many activities between Nordic skiing. They have a professional biathlon range. The sled dog races, the big ones, are hosted up there every year. I'd encourage anyone who hasn't been there and likes winter to go. But his quote is the impact of people in southern New England and Maine gets felt by us as well. Because if people don't see snow in their backyard, all of a sudden they stop skiing and they stop traveling. And that is one of the biggest reasons that it's important to promote what we have and what we're doing. Because if they're not seeing snow, in Portland or in Boston, they're not necessarily thinking about the snow and the winter conditions that we do have. So getting that message out is really important. All of this, all of these suggestions, I'd like to recognize that none of this is easy, and that many of the complementary services I'm talking about that might buffer you from traditional winter offerings when those aren't working also do add complexity to your organizational structure, to planning efforts, to expenses that you may incur by adding activities. So, uh, just know that we're here to help with these types of transitions, both from a planning perspective and from financial. We can help with, things like financial projections, looking at what expenditures for new equipment might do to your operation, as well as things like marketing plans to support that. So please always reach out to us if we can be helpful with something like this. Yep. We're here to help you. That's it for my slides today. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have or engage in any discussions you want to have about this topic.
We got a couple questions in the chat. Fair warning, I was curious. A couple things popped into my head. Don't know how relevant they are, but uh, can you use fat bikes and or side by sides on the beach in the winter? And then can you paddle on a lake or kayak on a lake in the winter if you have like a dry suit and layers? Like, do people do those kinds of things? Just
Yeah,
curious.
I mean, kayaking certainly. I mean, you see people in kayaks in the wintertime, in open water, and even in the ocean. I mean, just keeping in mind that obviously it's dangerous too. You have to be real careful. It's really easy. It doesn't take long to to get hypothermia if you fall in the water in the winter. So anytime you're around winter water in the winter, you just want to be careful. Side by sides normally are not allowed on beaches in Maine in any season. Especially there may be exceptions that I don't know about, but there's a lot of roadable dunes, things like that. Fat bikes, certainly, as long as you stay off the dune areas, are usually allowed. It does bring to mind one other thing about side by sides to keep in mind. So if you are a business or something that's entertaining the idea of side by sides, um, be careful when you go to size them because there are regulations that are in place now that limit the size of side by side. Some of them are very large. I think, and maybe someone could correct me. I believe that there's a it's done by a weight restriction now of like 2,000 pounds. It may be that there's a width restriction too, if you're going to use these on trail systems, on the multi-use trail systems, especially. They are certainly usable in the winter in a lot of locations, but not on the beach, probably. And definitely keep in mind size restriction.
Thank you.
Sure. Right. Well, thanks everyone for being here today. I really appreciate your time, and I'm always happy to answer follow-up questions in the future if you have them. I will be sending you on the slide deck.
We have one
Oh,
question here,
great.
Dion. I don't know if you can see the chat now, but if you can't, I'll read it to you. It says, how would I find a way to get winter tourism to look at downtown bus? Um,
Um, Good question. I mean, I would reach out to the Maine tourism office as a first step, and I can certainly send you uh, I can certainly send you some information
oh,
on how to do that.
downtown businesses. Not downtown bus.
Oh,
So how
downtown
would I?
businesses.
Yes.
Okay. Yep, that makes more sense. Okay, yeah, I get it. Tourists to look at downtown businesses. Get winter tourism to look at downtown businesses. So, like, are you thinking about your specific, uh, like, are you thinking like the tourism office sort of to look at downtown businesses in the winter?
Hey, Libby, feel free if you want to go off mute. You can speak out if you want to talk with Dion. Ah,
Okay.
yes. Walk-ins for piercing or tattoos.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So one of the things I think my answer will still be the same. The Maine tourism office is marvelous. They've actually, done a really good job getting winter tourism sort of expanded out of the traditionally rural and remote areas and into downtowns and into even urban areas by promoting like a lot of the winter festivals or other events. So if you have like a certain area in mind, I would certainly reach out to the Maine tourism office, and like I said, I can send you some information as a follow up to discuss like your specific area and how to work with them to get tourism to your area.
All right, we got another one for you, Dion. Can you make recommendations for setting up payroll for one employee?
Yes. Um, That's another one. It's Allison, right? Allison, I would recommend if you're not working with an SBDC advisor already to reach out to me and we could sort of go over how to set up payroll from both sort of a logistical and a regulation perspective. We do this a lot, so I would be happy to go over um, uh, payroll for an employee. Does that include, I'm wondering, Allison, does that include also the hiring of the employee, or is it really just specific to the payroll side? Great. Well,
See if we get payroll side.
yeah, okay. I'd be happy to go over that with you, if you'd like, if you'd like me to follow up with you. Great.
That's an affirmative.
Okay. Good. Great. Well, thank you all so much for coming today. I really appreciate it. And anytime you have follow-up questions, please feel free to get in touch. I will send you the slide deck a bit later today, and it will have all my contact info.